Now might be the very best time to hop back into Dark and Darker, and this is coming from somebody who played during the playtest and came in around, I think, playtest 3 or 4 and played shortly after, but fell off due to time constraints and just the sheer plethora of games that are out right now. Hey everybody, my name is Dexilic, aka just call me Dex, by the way, it's way easier to say. And today I want to talk about a few changes that Dark and Darker has made, and this is aimed more towards the casual player who just wants to find another reason to get back into this game. Maybe you fell off as well, but let's just get into it. So right off the bat, the moment that you get into the game, you can see that there are some changes with the classes. Now, I believe during launch, there was a fighter, barbarian, rogue, ranger, wizard, cleric, and then might have been a bard. I think was unlockable at that time, maybe even warlock as well. Then there was also druid that came in more recently. Now druid is pretty fun because you can just transform into a bunch of different animals. I believe you can even transform into a chicken. You're going to be greeted with a little message that allows you to essentially get like another player. There's a knight system now where if you don't really understand the game, you can recruit somebody who has more knowledge of the game to help you out, which I think is a really good overall mechanic for the longevity of the game, because a lot of games are known for their difficulty when trying to get into them. Like a big complaint with Lost Ark was that, oh well, we can't actually get into a lot of the raids because it was hard to find people who are willing to sacrifice their time, whereas here it's just straight up built into the game that, hey, you know, you can do this. Changes the player's mentality to be like, all right, this is a community where we're here to help. Next, you'll notice that they added in a questing system. You can now accept quests from the different NPCs and merchants that you normally interact with that give a variety of rewards ranging from gear to consumables, etc. Now, this adds to your overall experience level, which is now uncapped, by the way. And speaking of levels, when you queue into High Roller, you're queuing into a ranked mode of sorts. So now if you want to participate in some kind of competitive ranking system, you can. If you're one of those people who likes to show off, or if you just want to feel like you're the best, it exists now for you. Congratulations. You're fucking amazing.
You're better than all of us.
But not only is there that, there are also season exclusive rewards. So if you're somebody who's really prone to FOMO, this is perfect for you. If you need exclusive items, I'm saying this intensely because I have a friend who actually cannot miss out on exclusive items in Final Fantasy. Just can't. They need these items. Then yeah, it's perfect for you. You can now get exclusive items specific to that season. So this gives people a reason to actually come back and play the game, even if it's only for a short time after the wipe. Now, one of my favorite new features is that they added a Squire to the Merchants tab. This Squire will allow you to set base gear that you can have almost as like a preset before you go into your next dungeon. This is fantastic for newer players who've had a problem surviving previously. You're now given a certain set of consumables and gear that you can just bring in. Now, this is low-level gray gear, but nonetheless, it's still helpful. Hey there, it's me from the future, and I was editing in post and I realized, wait a second, this is one of the biggest features that I forgot, and this could be a game changer for somebody who didn't like something like the trading post and sitting there being like 200G for a blue helmet, just spamming like old school gaming days, man. Oh man, those are better times, weren't they? But now there is a proper marketplace where you can actually post things that you do want to sell or buy things that you want to buy, and you don't have to go through the typical trading post manner. Now, I haven't unlocked this yet because I am still coming back to the game, and this is something that I've seen there, and I think it's really cool. I think it actually saves a lot of time, even though you are sacrificing that sort of, you know, old school natural player to player interaction. Furthermore, looking at the different classes and the different abilities that are afforded to them, they have made massive changes for each individual class. So many changes, it's way too much to talk about in this video, but I do want to take note, and I do want to mention that they have added a crazy amount of different perks and abilities, and each class seems to play a little bit differently than they used to previously. They did have a situation where they started implementing like cross-class abilities, so you could level up one class and then get abilities from another class. However, due to the crazy stuff that was happening, it was just not even fair. A lot of people weren't having fun. The leveling was kind of weird. The amount of time it took to level one hell class to full, it kind of felt like more of a job. They decided to scale back on that. And I think it was a really good choice from a lot of the negative things I was hearing about that stuff. Like, you know, a barbarian was able to be invisible and just hop out of nowhere and hit you. Now that's cool and all, but it kind of feels shitty. Let's be honest, it feels like garbage. So I think it was a good idea that they scaled back, and they're planning on bringing it back in a more meaningful way, in a more limited way that I would assume makes more sense, where it's not like I can just pick anything and just be anything. You know, the class-based system in this game, I believe, exists for a reason, so let's make use of it. Otherwise, just get rid of the class system and then just, you know, just have everybody get whatever ability that they want. Now, I just want to take a moment to talk about the overall feel of the game. The game feels smoother. That is 100% for sure. It feels like a smoother experience. It definitely feels more polished. It does, however, feel a lot easier. And this is due to a variety of things, some of which we've talked about, some of which we didn't touch on. So for example, the Squire mechanic, or the Squire merchant, Squire NPC, that gives you the ability to spawn in with gear, potions, or consumables, etc., which obviously then increases the overall survivability of a player. There's also the predictability of portals and staircases. So now you always know that blue portal and blue staircase is in X location and red staircase is in Y location. So in an interesting way, it's becoming more of its own game and more of a proper, I guess you would say, extraction shooter. Like in Hunt Showdown, if you make it to a certain point, you know that you can extract at any point in the game. And that's really cool that it's no longer this battle royale-esque sort of thing. However, that does take away from a lot of the tension. I less often feel pressured when I'm going to take the red portal. So before in launch, if I was to go deeper into a dungeon, I would really have to think, oh my God, can I do this? You know, is this gonna work out for me? Now, not so much. Now I can just choose, okay, well, I don't have the gear, I don't have the consumables that I need. Let me just go take the blue stairs, or let me go take a blue portal. There's definitely less pressure on a player. Now, there have been several changes to some of the maps, such as Forgotten Ruins and Goblin Caves. Things don't spawn in the same area that they used to, as well as the overall structure is not exactly the same. The rooms feel like they flow into each other a little bit better, and given that the mob locations, or the mobs that spawn in certain rooms, don't spawn in the rooms that they used to spawn into, as well as the fact that these mobs have different attack patterns, not all of them, but some of them do, definitely feels like they've optimized and tuned and listened to player feedback. That's also part of the reason why it's just easier to get to a red portal, or it's easier to get to an extract. You're more likely to get a rare item and escape with a rare item as well, and be able to gear yourself up than you were in previous versions of the game. And I think that's an overall net good. However, I'm very worried about the direction that they're going in terms of difficulty. Now, I feel like there's less of a focus on PvE difficulty, which may or may not be bad depending on your preference, but more of a focus on PvP, which is pretty cool. So it's more likely that you're going to encounter a player who's also geared. And there are different levels of gear score that essentially put you into these brackets so that you're matched with players of a similar gear score. So yeah, coming back into this game has definitely been a trip. It is really cool to see a lot of the different changes that they've come out with. And I think overall, it's really shaping up to be its own game. And I really hope that they continue down this road. It seems like they're really listening to player feedback. It seems like people are enjoying themselves. They're making the changes that are necessary for a game to thrive long term. Now, is it always like at the top of these Twitch charts? No, but I think this is a very niche type of game. It's for a specific type of person. So I hope in some way, if you haven't played in a while, that I've convinced you, even in the slightest, to check this game out, to give this game another try. Anyway, that's all for now, folks. If I've helped you out at all, if this video has helped out at all, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.